Hello and welcome. My name is Kaylee Jo and I make content all about my experiences as a theater educator, and in my last video I talked all about how to choose the best musical theater audition song. So this video is kind of a follow-up to that, and I'm going to talk about all of the things that you should physically do in the audition room. So I'm going to answer questions like, what do I do with my hands? Where do I look while I'm singing? And so on. Let's start with the very first thing that you should do in the audition room.
A very good place to start.
Whenever you enter the room, you want to make sure that you have a confident walk, good posture, and don't be afraid to make eye contact with and greet everybody in the room. So the audition panel, the pianist, and whoever else may be there. Whenever you are about to begin your song audition, you are going to want to do something that we refer to as a slate. A slate is somewhat of an introduction for you and your song.
This is me.
So there are 3 things you want to say, and this is the order you want to say them in. First, you say your first and last name, then the name of the song, and then the name of the musical that the song is from. So as an example, your slate may sound something like this. Good afternoon. My name is Kaylee Jo, last name, and I'm going to be performing my favorite things from The Sound of Music. At this point, you can go ahead and make eye contact with whoever is controlling your music. So whether that is a pianist who is playing it from sheet music,
Does this pianist hate me?
or somebody who is hitting play on a Bluetooth speaker, no matter who it is, you want to make some eye contact with them and give a little nod or some kind of indication to let them know that you're ready. Next up, I'm going to share something that you should never say in the audition room, and that is, I'm sorry. Never apologize in the audition room, even if you were incredibly ill that day or your voice cracked 12 times during your song. Don't apologize, because I promise all that does is cast a little shadow of doubt around your audition. Plus, you are your own worst critic, so half the time I bet the things that you think you're apologizing for, the audition panel did not even notice. Next up, let's talk about where you should look during your song. So I completely understand that it might be a little uncomfortable to make eye contact with the audition panel, both for you and for them. So I don't actually recommend doing that. Instead, I want you to do this. Think about your song or your piece and determine who is it directed towards. So is your character singing to their parent or their spouse, or are they simply singing to the heavens on a rooftop? No matter who or what they are singing to, I want you to determine that as your invisible other. And this invisible other is going to be right behind the judges, but above their heads. And you are going to begin and end your piece by looking at that invisible other. I love this tip so much because it allows you to avoid any of that unnecessary or awkward eye contact with the audition panel, but it still allows them to see all of those emotions that play across your face as you are doing your audition. All right, so now let's chat about what you should do with your hands during your audition. And the short answer is this. It really doesn't matter what you do with your hands as long as they remain natural to your character and they're not competing with your face, because your face is your acting source. Some characters are simply going to call for a lot more talking with your hands type of movements, like Fanny Brice's I'm the Greatest Star in Funny Girl.
I'm a natural Camille.
But if we have a character like Eponine in Les Mis while she's singing On My Own, her hand motions might be much more inward and closed in.
I'm misty in the river.
So choose hand motions that make sense for your character, but please, please, please do not worry about your hands until you have focused on your facial expressions. Like I said, your face is your acting source. So if your hands are dead at your side the whole time, it is not going to matter if you are captivating me with your facial expressions. So focus on facials first. Once you get comfortable with those, you can move on to deciding on some natural hand movements for your character, as long as they are not going in front of your face. All right, next up, let's talk about what you should do with your feet. Should you be walking around at all during your song? And my answer is this. You should approach your song like you approach a monologue. So look at your character and the situation within the song and determine what is their objective. So what do they want? Why are they singing this song? And what are their obstacles? What is standing in their way? What's stopping them in the song? And then 3, what are their tactics? What are they willing to do within this piece to get what they want? And this is really going to help inform whether or not you should be moving during your piece. Audition pieces are relatively short, so I would not expect for you to cover much ground during your song. But I do support a little bit of movement if it makes sense for your character. Please do not add movement just because you feel like there needs to be movement. Unless it makes sense for your character, do not do it. And whenever I say that I support a little bit of movement, what I do not mean is any kind of intense physical activity like full-on dance numbers or jumping or falling to your knees in agony.
You know nothing of madness.
These are not things we should be doing. What I do mean by a little bit of movement is a few staggering steps forward or backwards, or, kind of going to the left or to the right. Nothing too big and crazy.
See her up there as you're nearing her, all the while hearing her.
Another interesting question I get pretty often is, should I cry during my audition? The short answer is no, you should really try to avoid that. I do understand that whenever you are reaching into the deepest recesses of your soul to portray this character and this moment in their life, that this might be a little emotional and it might lead to a few tears. And I myself am an emotional person, so I completely understand. But in the words of my graduate professor, John Leonard, if you can fight back the tears, then your audience will do the crying for you. Pure gold right there, folks. But if for some reason you do happen to cry during your audition, remember rule number 1, don't apologize for it. Now let's talk about what you should do at the end of your song. So my recommendation is this: go ahead and freeze at the end of that piece and count to 3 in your head. Not 3 Mississippis, that's drawing it out a little too long, but just count to 3 in your head and then break. This allows the feeling in the room to linger just a little bit longer to really get your full impact. Most importantly, I want you to know that we directors and casting directors are on your side. I promise that there are none of us that are plotting against you or waiting for your demise in the audition room. We want you to succeed. We want every single person who walks into the audition room to be absolutely incredible and do their very, very best. So I hope that this helps your confidence level a little bit to know that we already believe in you, so you should believe in yourself too. Don't forget that I'm trying to reach my goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, so if you have not done so already, please hit the subscribe button and share with any of your friends who you think might be interested in this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, break a leg.